I wanted to give you an overview of what my 48 volt solar setup looks like. So I'm in my little solar shed here. It's just a little cabin I built. So this is my charge controllers, and these are two separate solar banks. So this is one, we'll call it system, and then this is the second. So they're running in parallel. There's 6 250 watt panels connected to each controller. So that's 1500 watts here, 1500 watts there. So the way I've got these set up, these are the positives from the panels. And I have them in series of 3 panels each. So they're coming in at about, it's early in the morning right now, and they're coming in at 92 volts DC, and I'm only getting 70 watts because everything's shaded right now because, like I said, it's early. So these are just little bus bars. This is my positives coming in from the solar panels, and these are my negatives coming in from the solar panels. And then this is all just connected internally, and then this is my power going to a breaker, and these are 40 amp breakers. I'll zoom in on the number there. I think these came from Amazon. They're like 20 bucks. And they just mount to a DIN rail. So I've got the DIN rail back there, and these just clip on. So this is positive, negative from the solar panels coming in. And then it goes up into the charge controller. And they recommend if you're going over a certain amps, which I am, I'm maxing these out, that you come into both connections. There's 2 positives, 2 negatives. Then these are outgoing. Again, 2 positives, 2 negatives, going through another breaker. So these charge controllers, they're imports, but they're pretty decent quality MMPTs. So like I said, right now their panels are putting out 90 volts. They'll get up to 100 sometimes. And it seems to handle it just fine. Like right now the fan's not even running. So anyways, after the charge controller, this is my outputs, positive and negative, go to the battery bank through another breaker, same part number. So then they go to these bus bars. So what these are 3/8" aluminum bars that I bought. I bought just a blank bar, and I drilled and tapped holes in it for all these connections, just quarter 20. So the reason this jumble of wires looks so bad, when you have 2 charge controllers or more, you need to have the exact same wire lengths on everything, because that way it'll see the same resistance from the batteries. If the wire lengths are different, then it sees a different resistance and it shows a different voltage, and then they don't charge happily ever after. Like, it'll work, but you want it to all be equal length. So what you end up with is some extra wires, because this, basically my longest run was from the negative, from this one going all the way over to this negative bus bar. So I just made all my wires that length. So I got my 2 negatives going over to this one. This is all my negative bus bar. This, of course, is my positive bus bar. And I tried to connect everything to the same distance on each one, if that makes sense. Like, so this connection and this connection go to one battery, and they're both the same distance from the center point. And this is a huge bar, so it really shouldn't make a difference with resistance, but you never know. So that's all my inputs up here coming from my chargers. And then down here I've got my batteries, which I showed you how to make in a different video. And they're all internally fused, and they've got a BMS. So it's all pretty safe. And again, you want all your battery wires to be the same length. So a lot of these, they've got a ton of extra wire here. And I'll show you, here's some spares for the next battery I do. So these things, I can't remember the exact length, but what I did was I measured, again, my farthest distance will be from this bus bar if I put batteries all the way over here. So I measured the distance I would need for that, and then I just made them all the same. So you get all kinds of extra wiring tucked back there, but it's not going to hurt anything. It just costs a little extra money, but it makes it a lot safer. That way your batteries all charge at the same voltage. So I got my battery bank down here connected to my bus bars. Then I've got my inverter, which again, import inverter, but they got a pretty good reputation. I haven't had any trouble with it. 48 volt inverter. So going to the inverter, I've got, this is my positive coming over to this breaker. And I'll zoom in on that part number for you. This is a 3000 watt inverter, peak 6000, and this one seems to handle it just fine. Again, it's just a extra backup safety because I've got fuses and breakers on everything else. So then that's the positive, comes up to the positive, and then I got negative, going to negative. And that's it for as far as power coming in, power charging. And then on the inverter, right now it's putting out 122, and then this is just an extension cord. And it's got 2 regular 120 plugs, and then you can connect wiring to these if you just want to run a dedicated circuit, which I'm planning on doing eventually, but right now I just got an extension cord running stuff. So that's basically the 48 volt setup. It looks like a lot, but it's pretty easy. Power in, power to batteries, batteries to inverter, and that's about it.